not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 after 7. How are you doing? Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. This is a Situation Room on this Friday, the 22nd day of November 2024. Happy holidays. Have you prepared yourself? Are you sorted for, Christmas, New Year festivities? Are you ready for January and your school fees? Because that is going to come. Surely it will come. Now, if you've not started thinking about how, you start thinking of school fees for your children, those that are in school right now, those that are getting out of school, those that are yet to be born, you better start thinking. And then you talk to a Standard Chartered Bank.
Absolutely. So you can imagine the peace of mind that comes with having a financial partner who understands your vision and works with you to achieve it. So you see those fears that you're talking about? Okay, so we're coming to January. Oh my goodness, how are we going to pay school fees? How are we going to travel? Should we need to do that for Christmas? Imagine if you had started walking along with Standard Chartered, just a little while ago. But it's not too late because you can do it today. Priority banking, when they talk about walking that journey with you towards creating, managing and growing your wealth, Standard Chartered is right there. Imagine a partner who has 110 years experience in doing just this, so that you never have to worry, you never have to break a sweat, and in 55 unique markets around the world. That's the business of Standard Chartered Priority Banking, making you a priority and making your needs for the future a priority. You want to find out about that? Email prioritybanking@ke.sc.com. I've got it all wrong, but okay.
Prioritybanking@ke@sc.com.
Exactly what I said. Prioritybanking.ke@sc.com.
Yay!
See? I just needed you to, spur things up a little bit.
And the dots.
Exactly.
I know.
But that's what it is. Walk with Standard Chartered today and get those fears out.
Very good. Now, our Health Friday conversation today is going to be looking at the pharmaceutical sector in Kenya. And it would surprise you to hear that we actually have manufacturers of pharmaceutical products in Kenya, and many of them. There are many players. But how is it doing? How is it faring? Now, we want to talk to people who want to set up a plant in Kisumu and city.
Yes, please.
Are you going to now abandon us and go to Kisumu?
I come from Kisumu. Have I abandoned you thus far?
Well, the pharmaceutical plant in Kisumu.
We also have a fish plant. Have I abandoned
even molasses.
We have.
Yes.
Have I abandoned in Muhoroni? We have even agrochemical. Have I abandoned you?
No, not this time.
Surely.
Can't be, sir. Okay. We're joined by two gentlemen.
Start again.
Okay.
We are joined by two gentlemen. Yes.
Dhiren Thakkar is President and CEO at Med Aditus Pharmaceuticals Kenya, and Dr. Vincent Orinda is the Director at the same organization, Med Aditus Pharmaceutical Kenya. Good morning, Dr. Aris.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, Dhiren. How does it feel?
I feel great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
We have always admired this program, and in fact, it's really a pleasure to be here. It's good to be here.
Karibuni sana. Finally, you made it.
Yes. And I'm sitting next to City. One thing, City has got this jacket. I always wondered, is this part of the whole? It never changes.
It's uniform.
And we hope it doesn't change it.
City. So, why don't you change your jacket, City?
And why should I change my jacket? Or I must use the same logic that you asked about earlier on. No, I like this jacket. Yes.
Very good. No, it's a good one.
In case you're wondering, it will
warmth.
be washed over the weekend. So on Monday, I will still have it. Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about establishing what you're calling a transformative pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Kisumu, what that is all about. You'll tell us about your organization, Med Aditus, and what it means. But first, City, with the day's proverb. So this week, City, you've been in the
Republic of Burundi. This is our final proverb from this particular country. This was once a kingdom, a fairly thriving kingdom. I mean, They are kings for decades. Then modernity caught up with them and all manner of terrible things happened. The king was deposed and God knows what else happened. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. The proverb, 2 skinny and weak dogs cannot fail to overcome a fierce animal.
2 skinny and weak dogs cannot fail to overcome a fierce animal.
Yes, these dogs have 2 adjectives attached to them, skinny and weak. Yes.
Dr. Rinda, what's your interpretation of this?
You know, it's very interesting. Basically, if you're weak or you think you have no power and you're alone, you can't make it. But if 2 weak people come together, the power multiplies. And I think it makes sense that you can actually succeed. And it's not surprising we had 2 people here today.
But not we.
And not dogs.
Dhiren, what's yours?
Sorry.
What's your interpretation?
We happen to agree on a lot of things, and I agree on this as well. That, when you have 2 or more individuals combine their power and they work in harmony, they can overcome real obstacles and challenges.
There's 15 numbers.
Yes.
Okay. So, Dhiren Taka, you are president and CEO of Med Aditus Pharmaceutical Kenya. Before you tell us what Med Aditus is, what's the difference between president and CEO?
Well, president is sort of a administrative head, and CEO is chief administrative officer. So it's there are legally 2 different functions, and at least in this company we are combined. Once we grow, it is very possible that we may have president and CEO separate.
Okay. So it's like what we have in many organizations in Kenya, MD and CEO.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So what is Med Aditus?
So Med Aditus is stands for medicine, and Aditus is a Latin word for access. I try to find an English word for access to medicine because that's our mission, creating access to medicine. But you have to have a unique phrase or a word for a company, and all of the English combinations were taken by others. So then I decided to go to either Sanskrit or Latin, and I found the word Aditus, which means access, which also means discovery. It actually has 4 or 5 other meanings. I thought it was just perfect fit for what we want to do. It is harder to pronounce, but I decided that people will get used to it.
Over time.
Over time.
We'll get to know more about it.
Yes.
So what do you do? What does the company do?
So the company, Med Aditus is a family of 3 companies. I founded initially Med Aditus International, which was a non-profit corporation, and that I founded with a mission to improve access to medicine in low middle income countries, because medicines, I've spent all my life in discovery development of medicines, and I have seen over the years that medicines can increase lifespan, increase quality of life, and this has happened in Western countries. But when there is not access to the medicine, sufficient access to medicine, we are really not achieving full potential of humans. So I feel strongly enough for this, and so I decided to leave the university where I was a professor and started a nonprofit. And then subsequently, we have formed Med Aditus Pharmaceuticals and Med Aditus Pharmaceuticals Kenya to specifically focus on developing pharmaceutical manufacturing capability and capacity in sub-Saharan Africa.
Manufacturing capability, right? So it's not the research bit. It's just the production side.
It's production, but there is plenty of innovation in that we are bringing to production of pharmaceuticals.
Okay. Now, Dr. Rinda.
Yes.
In Kisumu, setting up a plant there.
Yes.
Why Kisumu?
Interesting. Dhiren Thakur came to Kisumu 2021 at the invitation of Governor Nyong'o to explore where and how to start a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant. He had been to several countries, 8, almost 10 countries, looking at where he can do this. And he ended up with Rwanda and Kenya competing for this very innovative project. He had many reasons he will explain. And eventually, he decided to come to Kisumu for many reasons. When he met Governor Nyong'o told him, I have one bullet that I must use while I'm still here to bring some major success to this region. And we all, looked at him and said, well, this bullet needs to be used. And he Dhiren looked at Kisumu. He went to Rwanda, came back to Kisumu, and he looked at the region, the situation of Kisumu at the lake, with access to many countries in the region. He looked at all other possibilities that comes with a supportive government and the county government. And then he met some good professionals. He met Dr. Professor Rogo, Dr. Rai, Dr. Ganda, and myself and others. And he was convinced that he can do business with these people. In fact, the story that goes that in Africa, it's always difficult to do any business because you find people always asking for what is in it for me. We have not asked Dhiren what is in it for us. We are doing it because we believe in serving our community and in actually contributing to the UHC, universal health coverage. And he will explain to you how Med Aditus brings in affordability and quality of drugs in manufacturing.
Okay. What are the challenges in the manufacturing? Before then we come into what is different about what Med Aditus is going to do. What are the challenges that, are encountered by pharmaceutical companies in setting up, establishing and manufacturing and distribution of drugs?
There are plenty of challenges. In fact, it is because of these challenges that the growth of pharmaceutical manufacturing sector in sub-Saharan Africa has been pretty slow, despite the best efforts and intentions of governments and private sector. The entire sub-Saharan Africa only has approximately 400 to 600 manufacturers, and if you compare that with India, with the approximately same population, India has 10,000 and counting. So, what are the problems here? What are the challenges? This is a highly regulated industry. So to build a pharmaceutical manufacturing factory, you have to really build highly specialized space, thousands of square meters of space, which is expensive to build. It requires technical expertise, so which means that you really require high level of capital. It takes a long time to, at least in this part of the world, it takes a long time to build such facilities. So it may take as much as 5 to 7 years to build one because of lack of access to many of the resources. And once it is built, to run such a manufacturing facility, which is such a regulated sort of industry, there are so many rules and regulations to achieve the level of quality that one needs to achieve. And this is just technically and financially challenging. So there are a number of, and then of course, workforce. Access to workforce is sometimes a real challenge too.
What would it mean? I'm just looking at the medical space. I'm looking at post-COVID or even during COVID when there was huge need at some point, perceived or otherwise, to have proximity of availability of medicine.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So if we say that there's a plant in Kenya feeding the region, feeding the country, What would that mean in terms of strides for this space?
Well, I think that you ask a very good question and make a very good point. What the current sort of a model is that a lot of manufacturing capacity is concentrated in a few regions in the world: India, China, Europe, North America. So imagine that there are needs for medicines in this part of the world. Most of these medicines have to be imported, which means there's a long supply chain coming from India to Africa. There's a transportation of the goods from where it is manufactured to the port. Then it comes to a port in one of the African countries. Then it goes inland. Takes time. It becomes expensive. But very importantly, the countries here rely on other countries to provide that. So imagine what happened in COVID. When things got rough, the countries that were manufacturing drugs and vaccines, they wanted to make sure that their people are taken care of first.
Yes.
And as a result, many of the countries absolutely did not get access to vaccine. So I think it is very important for us going forward to develop distributed pharmaceutical manufacturing sort of a model. If you make drug in Kenya, then it is so much faster and easier to really get that drug to patients in Kenya and maybe in the surrounding regions. We believe that is the model of the future, and we want to actually bring technology to Kenya that promotes that kind of model. That is what we want to actually accomplish. Proof of concept that you can set something up in Kenya, and we can show the success, and then we can actually replicate that in other countries and create local capacity so that there is a short supply chain, and the company that is manufacturing drugs is more responsive to the local needs of the people.
Okay. Dr. Arinda, there are many pharmaceutical manufacturing plants in Kenya.
Yes.
Right? Some have been there for years, for decades. So what would be different about this one?
It is really amazing that Dhiren chose to come to Kenya. The technology that is bringing it is the first time it's being introduced in Africa. It's technology that is already being used in Europe and the USA, and in fact, he will tell you more about it, that it is continuous modular manufacturing, as opposed to the batch manufacturing processes that are there.
Okay, explain that.
The quality assurance that is there is by tablet. It's not by batch. I'd like Dhiren to expand on this because he is the expert. And he has brought this technology to us, and we are very excited. So we are not really bringing something that is already being used in Kenya. It's not. This is the first time.
This is the first time that this is being done in Kenya.
And in Africa.
Have you been in the pharma space yourself?
No, I'm a doctor, pediatrician. I've been in United Nations. I've been in programming, and I've been developing and supporting countries.
Yes.
I have worked in South Africa and Namibia. I've worked in New York as a senior advisor for children's health for UNICEF. I've worked with many countries, and I can support programs such as this in a way that makes a difference.
Okay, explain the tech.
Yeah, so this is and this is not a hyperbole. This is a transformative technology. And let me explain what this does. The entire manufacturing production line can be placed in a 100 square meter room. 100 square meter room. Compare that to the way we have been manufacturing pharmaceuticals for the last 30, 40 years. Actually, you need to build a fairly complex, several rooms, several unit operations. You need something of the order of 4,000 to 5,000 square meter compared to 100 square meter. So, so obviously, you can just imagine how much easier it is to build a space for this continuous manufacturing. Very compact, very small footprint. So that is one big advantage. The second very important difference between the traditional approach and continuous manufacturing is that in continuous manufacturing process, you feed the ingredients. It's sort of a vertically configured machinery. You feed the ingredients at the top. The ingredients get metered in accurately. They go into a high efficiency mixer, and from there they go into the tablet press. So from the start of the process to the time tablets come out, 3 to 5 minutes. Okay?
3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, tablet starts coming out after you start the process.
Compared to how long?
Compared to batch manufacturing, where from the time you start the process to the time the tablets come out, is anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So now you can see.
What's the size of a batch?
Yeah.
So, that's a good question. In a batch manufacturing, you have to predetermine that do I want to make 500 kilo batch, which means do I want to make 50 million tablets, or do I want to make 500 million tablets? So they have to first decide that, and then in fact the machineries that you use really kind of confines you to certain batch size. Okay. In continuous manufacturing, the batch size is how long you run the machine. If you run for a week, you get, let's say, 50 million tablets. You run for a month, you get 200 million tablets. So it is a very flexible, agile sort of approach to producing drugs.
Okay. What spectrum of drugs are we talking about that could essentially be produced? Or you're just going to say, let's do everything, antibiotics, painkillers. I mean, I'm probably making it really rudimentary, but just trying to understand here that because it exists, one would imagine, all right, well, we've got a plant, any kind of medicine that would be needed, especially if you take a look at the disease burden in Kenya, across board, what it could be, whether you're treating cancers, whether you're treating a non-communicable, whatever it is, would you then say and look at the region and say, these are the kinds of drugs we would produce based on the disease burden? Or would you take into consideration what the region might need and say, we can also produce for the region? How would you decide then what you would produce?
Yeah, if I could just start with the technology. This technology allows us to make various different products. You can change from one product to making a second product within a matter of 2 or 3 days by cleaning the machinery, cleaning the room. Again, I just want to go back to the batch. For a batch process, if you want to go from one product to the second product, it'll take you anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks to go to transfer the machinery from one product to other one, because you have to absolutely clean everything. So there is no contamination in the new product from the old product. So this is, again, a very agile system. So we can make any number of products that we plan to make. We have decided to start our initially offer products that will treat cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer, the so-called non-communicable diseases. We decided to start with that because we have seen, of course, everything we do is based on market research and data that we have acquired. We know that these non-communicable diseases are increasing in terms of numbers of people getting them, and they are actually creating a bigger toll on human life. The communicable diseases continue, but we believe that there is less attention being paid to treating non-communicable diseases. So we want to come in and meet unmet patient need, but we are a business. We want to be a successful business. So we believe that by going into those products first, we will actually create a market advantage for ourselves. And then over a period of time, we will broaden our portfolio. We will also make the HIV, malaria, tuberculosis drugs as well. We also want to later on bring in medicines for neglected tropical disease, which is an important area to treat in this area, in this region.
Are we going on to a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. Coming back shortly. 28 minutes to 8. We are having our Health Friday conversation today about manufacturing, pharmaceutical manufacturing in Kenya, and a transformative pharmaceutical manufacturing plant is being set up in Kisumu by Med Aditus. The president and CEO of Med Aditus is Dhiren Thakur, and Dr. Vincent Orinda is the director at the same company, Med Aditus. They'll tell us more about it, its transformative, and what then we expect to see out of it. As we take this break and do, please, we said it is what banking dot what?
prioritybanking.ke at sc.com.
Okay.
Right.
And that's why do we need that?
So who is the person who is advising you? Or who is the person who is holding your hand? Who is the person who is showing you the ropes when it comes to creating your wealth, managing your wealth, growing your wealth? Whether it's 1 shilling, 100 shillings, 1,000 shillings, or 100 million shillings, CT, that's your area where you play. It depends on the decision you make today. So when you ask the question, who is the one who's helping you? How about you go to the one who gets it, who's been there for a very long time, who operates around the world, and that's Standard Chartered. And they've been able to say, look, with priority banking, we can get you to that place where you didn't know what was going on, you didn't know where to go, till now you're making decisions bit by bit with us holding your hand, and you get to the place where you can take control of your future.
So stop listening to that pal who's just buying plot car.
Patapotea. No. This one, go to Standard Chartered.
They're trained.
Absolutely.
And they're certified.
Yes, they are.
Very good. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only